What we were talking about first is color, and actually it's a combination of pigment and light that we interpret as color. Things in the foreground are going to have more red and more yellow than they are when they are farther back. When they're farther back, they start losing their color because the light waves are different. The blue ones are longer, and so they travel farther. So if you'll notice here, I actually, when I painted this one, this is the turquoise of the sky, and then I think this is sap green. I used, oh, I left it over there. I used permanent green in the next picture I painted, but I don't think that's the right green. I think this is, it doesn't matter, a green, a nice grassy green. And then when you pick up that blue of the sky, you'll notice it looks like the hills are farther back, simply because there's a little more blue in them. And I was trying to find one of my paintings that showed it more obviously, and I think this one wins. This was obviously inspired by Monet. Anything you do that shows depth is an illusion. So part of the illusion is the fact that the greens down here, including the greens reflected in the water and the greens of the lily pad, have a lot more yellow in them, and then they start to lose that yellow, including the reflections in the water, and they become more blue, because even without the lily pads in that, if you just look at the reflection in the water, and this is greener, this is more yellow and more red even, and then as it goes back you've got more blue, and so it looks farther. Yeah. Now I want to show you something, because I've talked about brush care, and this one I used at the very beginning of the last episode and just left it in the water, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's already, the covering on the barrel of the brush right underneath the ferrule, this, the shank is it's already split. So that's too much water for this brush already. So this time when I use it, instead of leaving it to soak in the water, I'm going to pull it out and take the time to get it reasonably clean, and then I'll wash it later. I just want to make sure there isn't enough acrylic paint in there to glue the bristles together and ruin the bristle part of the brush. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to reload the palette. And sometimes, oh, by the way, I've changed the way I anchor my palette. Those of you who've painted with me before, I usually put water down. You know that when it dries, then this parchment paper just starts sliding all over there, and it's a real pain. So what I've started to do is, whatever color I'm putting on my palette first, I put a little on my finger, and I put dots in the corner, and then I just anchor the paper to that, because I'm never going to eat off that again. So there you go. So I'm going to add a little more. A little dot right there. Push it down. There we go. And it's done. It stays in place. I'm happy. All's well. And I'm okay that this isn't pristine. Anyway. So, okay, here we go. We're going to start with turquoise or any light blue that you've got for the sky. If you've got dark blue, just add some white to it. In fact, I'm going to show you the painting I did. I did at 6 o'clock, where I actually did add some white to it. I'm going to use my big brush. This is the brush I teach with, depending on what I'm doing. This is the brush I give the students, because I want to cover that canvas quickly. It's not about you watching me paint. It's about you getting on and being able to enjoy it yourself. That to me is the point. Share it and enjoy it. So here we go, right into the turquoise, and we're going to start with the sky and come down. Like I said, if you're here, please just say hi in the comments. I'll do my best to keep an eye on there. I appreciate you dropping by and spending a little time with me tonight. One of my favorite things to do is paint with other people. It's my jam. It's what I like doing. Painting alone is fine and fun, and I get a lot out of it. It's kind of meditative for me, but painting with other people is absolutely my favorite thing to do. Okay, just getting the edge up here. Okay, I'm gonna fill this canvas about 2/3 with turquoise. I'm actually gonna add a little water. I want it a little looser than that. Going back and forth. If you want to, you can add some white. Add some wispy clouds in there. It tends to get all blended in though, I will have to say. It's kind of hard to keep those white streaks, and they're really, really subtle, but they do. In this turquoise, they just blend right out. There's just not, you have to be really disciplined not to keep going over them because they will blend out. Okay, adding some more. Let's add some more white in here, just because I know this white and this green. The green kind of is the same value. Hue is the color that we see. Value is how dark it is. So adding that in there. Okay. See how that just starts getting blended right on out. Let me add just a little more down here. Okay. All right. Now, without rinsing my brush and while the blue is still wet, I'm going to go grab the green. And we're going to do the hills because I want the hills into that blue. It's going to go, we're going to make a kind of a U, come down this way. We're not going to go any farther down than this, and we're going to kind of come back up. And I want that blue in that green so that they look farther away. So here we go. Sap green on the palette. And see, there's the permanent green, actually with some yellow already mixed up, and I'm just going to grab the sap green right here. That's more sap green than I'm probably going to use, but hey, we can use it. Okay, so there's my hill, the contour of my hill, and get in there and pick up that blue and paint in the path of that hill. You want to paint however you would walk in that hill, whichever direction you would walk, that's how you want to paint it. Okay? And you can leave dark streaks in there, you can leave texture in there, you can leave brush strokes in there because it adds interest to your hill. Sometimes brush strokes tell the story of the texture of your painting. So here we go, we're adding in that, and this is, I mean, it's my favorite time of year because the hills are green and the trees are budding. My allergies are killing me, but that's okay. It looks gorgeous. So thank you, Flonase, I will survive. Enzertech. I killed some texture in there. I just want to put a little bit of it back in. Okay, now I talked about yellow. So we've got the blue in there, and it's actually, there's an awful lot of white in there too. So the two together are giving you that illusion that you're going all the way back. And you can, on the one I did at 6 o'clock, I literally just made that such a soft line in there, like fog had set in on the horizon. Oh gosh, keep going higher and higher. Okay, I'll stop. There we go. I did want to take that line out, so there, but I wanted to leave the fact that we've got layers of hills coming in. Now we're going to bring that horizon right up to us. We're going to keep painting with this green, but I'm going to add some yellow to it. I'm going to take my brush over, dip it in the yellow, add that yellow to the green, and it makes that green come right up close and personal. I hope you're seeing it. I'm hoping you're seeing that the illusion of depth that we've just created here. Oh, we get a little thick. Add a little water. Come on, there you go. All right. Add some more sap green on this side, and I'm going to go back into that yellow. So that's all I'm going to do for the for the landscape behind the tree and supporting the tree onto your hand. Because you're going to start with your palm down and you're going to make a backward C, wind up with your palm up. Now for me, I can't hang on to that. I have to kind of loosen my hand up and so that it goes that way. So you're going to do a C that way. And then we're going to start with our palm up on this side and we're going to come over and turn it around that way. Okay. So you're going to turn your palm this way on this C. You're going to start with your palm down and turn your palm up for the C that we're going to do on that side. And you want them to meet in the middle because that's where the trunk of your tree is going to be. Now, a couple other things about the trunk of the tree. It's on a hill, so it's going to be leaning one way or the other. It can be leaning forwards like it's about to fall down the hill. It could be leaning backwards like it's, whoa, I'm holding myself up on the hill. And a lot of times I'll make the root on this side of the tree longer. Kind of like you know, when you're standing on a hillside and you feel that pressure on your feet into the toes of your shoes. And so I just kind of paint that. So I know I said dark brown. I've done this with black. The original one, the one that was on the event banner, is with black. So I'm going to use black with this one. But you can use dark brown. Either way. It doesn't really matter. Just a dark color. You could even use dioxazine purple for this. Okay, here we go. Now, it was really loose. It's still pretty. Ooh, and splatty. Okay. That's all we're going to need. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing about painting this tree, we're going to pull it out and we're going to wiggle the brushes so that we get those bristles aligned. Okay. We want this edge right here to be super, super fine because there's still some green in there, but that's okay. Because we want the edge of those limbs to be, they taper off into almost nothing. And that's what we want. We need to be able to show that with the paint. So into the paint, wiggle, 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 wiggle. I can see that it's, there we go. Now they're coming together. Wiggle, 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 and pull back. And if you see, that's super tight. Okay, now I'm going to start with this one. So my palm is up. I'm going to start way over here on this hill. I'm going to arc up, come over. I want the trunk of the tree here, and I want it leaning backwards, and then I want that root to come down. So here we go. No pressure in the beginning. And then I can start to add pressure as it gets thicker. And then just kind of let it taper off. You can see where I touched the canvas twice. You want to commit. Once it's down, it's down. Trust yourself. And you never want to paint a line twice, but here I go. Just that edge. All right, now this one I'm going to bring over from off the edge of the canvas. And it's going to stop right there. We're good. Now we're going to have a couple of them coming down from the middle. One there, one coming in from that side. Bring it into the middle. Now, that's not a very attractive trunk. So we're going to clean that trunk up a little bit. Load our brush again. And I'm going to put some wiggles in there because I want some interesting things going on in this trunk, this big heavy trunk that's been here holding up this tree, fighting gravity, fighting the weather. Now I know that the paint underneath it is wet and I'm picking some of that up. I'm okay with that because it adds interest. Some more of that. I want that root to be longer. Should have made it thinner though. There we go. It goes all the way down to the ground there. And it's got kind of a root coming up that way. I think you're thick coming out here. Oh, and you're definitely got to be thicker than that. There we go. And it's okay. See how that is, oh, that got a little messy up there. on, I'm distracted. And that's gonna come in a little. See how that part right there? That's actually fine because it gives the illusion of movement. Maybe there's some wind tossing that branch around. I don't like how thin this is. I need this to be thicker. There we go. I think I'm happier with that. Add some detail to it. Okay. There. All of that with this big thick brush. I do want that darker though. And here. You know what? I'm not going to worry about this. I'm messing with it too long. There's a point at which you've just got to say, okay, you're doing what you want to do. It's not what I wanted you to do, but okay. We're going to collaborate here. There. Yeah. Okay. Nice solid trick. See, it is so well anchored into that ground now. Now I don't want to leave this sitting in the water like it did last time. So I'm going to rinse off a good portion of the paint, squeeze it out, and then rinse it out with my brush. Now I am going to wash these with pink soap. There's a soap for brushes, for paint brushes. Other than pink soap, I'm not sure what it's called. I know there's a pink soap for laundry too, but this I think is actually called pink soap. And if you paint a lot, or if you, just want to take care of your brushes, you paint even not a lot, pick up a little bottle. I get it by the gallon, obviously, because I paint quite a bit. And I was going through the little ones. So I'm happy with that for now. That looks pretty clear to me. And so I will leave that until later. Okay, now the blossoms. I had been trying to figure out how to add color to the blossoms because not all blossoms are white. Even though in the original one, when I was just trying to keep it simple. Even in this one, let me pull this one down just for a minute. For that one, I made it all white, and it was okay because I was really trying to keep it simple, as few elements as possible. And at 6 o'clock, when I did this, because I got all confused with this time change, can I blame it on the vaccine? I did do yellow. I added yellow, and but what I realized is when I did it with the children's group is I had them do the white first and then put the color on top, and that I think that was backwards. They had a great time. Some of the most amazing pieces of artwork. They just were delightful. But I think if I had, the next time I teach this, which is tonight, I wanted to do the color first and then add the white on top as highlight, like where the sun's coming in. So that's what we're gonna do. And also look, I liked how soft this was. It just disappeared into nothing. Like I said, it's, good readers read things more than once. Good writers write it more than once. And so I didn't realize until an adult that if I was going to paint it over again, it didn't mean the first time had failed. It wasn't a failure. Because to be honest truth, when I was in high school, the only time my teacher asked me to paint something over again was when it didn't turn out, it wasn't up to muster. And so I had a stigma for painting something over. And it was my husband who said, well, next time you paint it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you mean the next time you paint it? I painted it. But no, I get it. You learn more, you try out other things, you get to experiment. And so that's why I think I have so many trees, is because I keep playing around with trees. And they're easy. But they're fun. They're Here we go, the blossoms. There are lots of things you can use to do that tapping stuff, and we talked about last Sunday, paper towels, a couple brushes, sponges, Q-tips, and so tonight we're using the Q-tips. Now, this is a bundle of 7. A bundle of 7 because when you have 1 in the middle and 6 around the outside, if you're painting with someone who's very literal, you have an actual blossom shape there. But I don't want to be that literal. I want to be a little more abstract, but I don't want it in a line either. Wow, I just created a line. Okay, that works. That's kind of a question mark. And this time, I'm going to start with light magenta. It says medium magenta, which you could do with magenta and white, but there it was, so I bought a tube. Actually, I think I may have ordered it. So here we go. I'm going to tap in here, and you want the darkest color closest to the tree, because those are the buds who haven't opened yet. Those are the newest ones. The ones that are most white, they've been bleached out by the sun, and or they're just plain reflecting all the light from the sun. It's a little too much. We're going to reflect it all, and off it goes. So I've got it loaded up. I think that's going to be a little too globby, so I'm going to tap it off on my palette. There we go. That's a little better. And just like we did with the tree, tap and turn, tap and turn, tap and turn. I'm going to start close to the tree. Tap and turn. Oh yeah, I think I'm happier with this than the yellow. Tap and turn. Go back and pick up some more paint. Tap and turn right over the top of those branches because here's the thing. You've only got the big branches in there. When you look at the trees, right now is a perfect time because you've got some that are in bloom and you've got some that they're sending out new growth, but they may not have budded out yet or bloomed out yet or leafed out yet. And so when you look at them, it looks like fringe. It looks like it just splits and splits and splits and splits until on the very edge it looks like little silk threads just going off, but it makes a definite shape. And if you look at those trees really closely, it's not just one arc. It's not just one ball of tree. And a lot of times we'll stylize trees that way, which is fine. But we don't want it quite that stylized. We're going to have some clumps that make little mounds. And we'll show the mounds actually in a minute. We're just getting some color down right now. Boy, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. Now see, the other thing that I picked up some black. That's okay. You've also got branches that come down like this that we can't see, but we're going to see the blossoms on them. So we're going to add those blossoms in. You're loaded, so I'm going to do some more up here. So once you've got and all the way down here on this one. Oh, really picked up a lot of black on that. We're going to add quite a bit of color right here. Lots of black. I can turn it around a little bit. Okay, add some more color up here. And right here. Adding some more color there. And you're going to come down like this. I know there's going to be a branch there and there. There's also going to be some coming right down in front of the tree. I think there's a branch there. We just can't see it. And now I'm going to pick up the white without rinsing off the pink. I want it in between. I don't want it pink. I want it lighter than that, but I don't want it white. Okay, I'm picking up a little more pink too because it wasn't. And I'm going to follow the lines of some of those clusters. because these are the older ones where they've gotten some light. They've bleached out a little bit. Oh, I need to fill that in. So I'm going to fill this in. Oh, big glob. Sorry about that. Big glob. We'll fix you later. Because I'm sure there's a branch coming up this way too. Oh, getting impatient and it's getting globby. That shows. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay. All right, here we go. Back to the white. I'm gonna need some more white. Grab some white. And I just squeeze out a little here. This white's getting a little old and it's getting a little stiff. There we go. Hopefully that'll be enough. If not, I can put some more out. Avalanche in the background. I am going to have to figure out a third device so I can have a little music going, because I almost always have music going on while I'm painting. Or just a video in the background I can ignore. And we are adding... Now, these come in this way towards the tree. The ones on this side are going to come in this way. You always want to go back in towards your center. Let's add some here to kind of take care of that big glob that happened there. Oh, stop being so impatient. But you really want to, I mean, really, you want to fill in this whole area. Not with the globby part. See, I'm going to put this in my hand. I'm going to get paint all over my hand. But that's what you've got to do sometimes. You really want to, when you look at the trees right now, go out and take a look at some of your favorite trees. Especially the ones that do bloom. And you'll notice that some of them get so thick you can't even see the structure. You can't see anything past here a lot of the times. So make sure it's not clobby. And it's just tap and turn, just like we did with the trees with the sunset last week. I'm going to add some down here, but I want it not white. And I want it just lightly to come out of the tree. There we go. Yeah, it's a little too globby for me over there. Just add some light pink to that, fill it in a bit. Anywhere I see blue now, I'm just going to tap in, and I want to really meld those colors together. Kind of just let them show the just how full it is, how full this tree is of all those blossoms. Okay, now we're not done. I forgot to do the highlights on the tree, on the bark, before we added the blossoms. We can go through and do that now though. And clean some of that off. Thank you to the one person who's watching right now. I appreciate it. Thank you. Linda, is that you? Okay, so when we're talking about light, and we're talking about warm light and cool light, the light in the shadows is always cooler, and we associate that with blue. And the light in from the source is warmer, and we associate that with red. Now I'm going to use these colors here, and I'm just going to go straight into the light magenta, and I'm going to twist the brush so it's nice and I'm going to use no pressure at all, and I'm going to add a little water though, because I need it a little thinner than that. And I'm just going to add a little texture on the bark. I'm going to follow some of these details that kind of just happen naturally when I wiggled the brush around. And there we go. Now it is a bit of a problem that it's the same color as the blossoms up there on that part of the trunk. And actually I want blue under there because that's not where and so the light's going to hit here too. Just add some details, add a little interest. And the squigglier they are, the better, because you know that just is texture of the bark. Now some of these I may want to mix with a little white, so I'll pick up a little white, some water, just add a little bit of sparkle to the front of this tree. Oops, too much water. There we go. I'm going to turn the brush so it's a nice thin point. I'm going to add some little parts that are just a little brighter than the other one. And maybe where the light hits first. Okay, now that's the warm side of the tree where the light is hitting. What about the shadow side of the tree? We're going to use the same turquoise we used for the sky. I need some water in that, it's too thick. It's that in between, that Goldilocks. And we're going to add some texture back here. Well, you know what? I want that a little darker. I'm just going to add a little bit of black to that. Just a little bit. Knock it down so it's not quite so bright. Still awfully bright. And just with the tip of the brush and trying not to use any pressure at all, just adding some texture to the back side of that tree. I don't think I want to add any white to that because it is so bright. In fact, I'm going to add a little more black right there. Bring it down. And come in. Hey, is it raining where you guys are? And just add some texture to that. The back side of those shadows there. So there we go. Now that we've got the texture on our tree, some of these blossoms have already fallen off and they're on the ground. So let's put those in. I don't want super bright white ones. They're starting to die. They've lost their sheen. But I also don't want them as dark as the darkest ones either. So I'm just mixing a little white and a little magenta on here, and boy, that looks awfully clumpy. So I'm going to separate these out because they're just too clumped together. I wonder if I have another one. Oh, I do. But you know what? We're so close. Okay, so they're all separated out. That's good. We just want the indication that some have fallen down here. Oh, way bright. Tap and turn just gently. You don't want a whole lot of them. You want it to follow how far out that tree goes. Maybe some got down here on the in the roots and it's stuck to the trunk. There we go. Now that's the texture I'm looking for, where it's just kind of sticky. And now you don't want it to come all the way down here because you imagine that you're back a little bit from this tree. When you take a plate, you want to, and you hold it sideways, you don't see a round plate, you see an oval. So that's kind of what we're doing here, even though we know this tree is round-ish. Put a little too many down here. If I was being very particular about this, I might take the green and paint some of those back out. But they've gotten some on the tree, stuck on the tree on their way down. There we go. And there might have been a few white ones. Maybe there's some brand new ones and a couple of them. Just a little sparkle here and there. Not much. If you add sparkle all over the place, it kind of kills the effect. And I am the queen of overdo when it comes to that. All right. So, hello, viewer number 2 who's joined us. I appreciate the fact that you're here. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign this one. I'm pretty pleased with that one, actually. I might come back and fix up some of these blossoms up here, simply because I'm not quite... You know what? Let me do it now. I've got time. So I'm going to use a new set of Q-tips. I'm going to go into the white. I want a line this time because I just want the edge. I'm going to do some contours of those blossom clusters. So like I see one here. Kind of comes right on out. Definitely this one needs some help. So adding some structure to it, so he needs some under part. And you get some light. Let me add a little more pink into you, because that's a little too bright. There we go, just a little pink over the top. Yeah, you came down this way, and some more over here came down that way, and just where are those clusters in your tree? Where are those? Where did they come from? Where are they going? What's the shape? I'm gonna add. You just don't seem well grounded, so I'm gonna add some pink underneath you, so it's obvious that you're coming from someplace. Maybe a little more. Where am I looking like I need a little more? Maybe some coming straight down here. All right. Like I said, queen of overdone. I can sit here and add them until it's like, well, what were you trying to do? There. Okay. All right. Calling it done. And now signing it. Okay. Might as well sign it in pink. It is my favorite color. Little white, little pink, little water. And I don't sign my whole name. It just was too much of a challenge when I started, and so I want to add a little white to that signature. So a little white on one side of my brush. I do my D, M, and oh, can't see one tonight. Let me pull it out here. And it is 2021. Oh, that was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? All right. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. Hope it was relaxing for you. Hope you had some fun. That was the one I did at 6 o'clock when I got all changed around with the time. So you got 2 tonight if you tuned in earlier like Linda did, and then you came back for the actual time. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good week. Stay healthy. Be well, and take care of those around you.